Breaking, a full Marine battalion or around 500 Marines based out of 29 Palms in California have been mobilized to respond to protests in LA, sources tell me, and Hal Britz, CNN. CNN's Natasha Bertrand is covering it. Hexit had put them on prepare to deploy orders over the weekend. The deployment of the full Marine battalion marks a significant escalation in Trump's use of the military as a show of force against protesters, but it is unclear what their task will be once in LA. The sources said, like the National Guard troops, they are prohibited from conducting law enforcement activity like making arrests unless Trump invokes the Insurrection Act. Okay? Oh, brother. How do these compare to the police presence of protests in LA back in 2020? Are the police, law enforcement more aggro? I mean, it's more or less the same, probably a little bit more aggro for how marginal these protests have been so far. Yes, you are correct, but you weren't that clear and articulate when you said it yesterday in the clip. No, I was. If you actually watch the clip, instead of pausing midway and start talking about how, or silencing me midway and start talking about how fucking, how I'm wrong and bad and stupid, yeah, of course you're going to arrive at that conclusion. I said the exact same thing yesterday. Also, I said it in the middle of a fucking protest. Like there's explosive ordnance going off in the background, you know? It's going to be a little bit more difficult to be clear and concise. And even then, I think it was fairly clear and fairly concise. So, no, I saw it, but I found you far more clear today now. Oh, you mean to tell me that I'm more clear when I'm sitting in my fucking studio and not when there's constantly, not there when there's like fucking 3 on fire Waymos right besides me in the middle of a fucking situation where there's cops that are deploying explosive ordnance? That's crazy, man. You're right. So you agree with him? Why are we ripping into this guy? Well, that guy already acknowledged that was a stupid point to bring up, number one. And number two, I basically used more words to describe the exact same fucking thing now. Of course, it's easier for me to say what I mean when I'm in my fucking studio as opposed to being outside in real time while the protest is unfolding. And there are, again, explosive ordinances popping off above my head, you know? But XQC was reacting to that clip, not what you're saying right now. And XQC isn't very smart, so I agree with the chatter. I know XQC isn't very smart, but you know who else isn't very smart? You, okay? Because what you're supposed to do in that situation is to try and understand the point that I'm making instead of immediately fucking silencing me and then speaking over me. But that's not what he did.
What do you think he would post on Twitter? What do you think he would say on stream?
Also, he brings up a totally fucking irrelevant point as a counter to be like, what if your car was on fire? Okay? Yeah. All right, I'm going to fucking start banning people.
If he came back to his Porsche on fire.
Wow, I can't believe he didn't listen to my point because he fucking muted me. I guess that's my problem here. If you want to hear what I was saying there without mutes, here it is.
Worry about property damage for the sake of property damage in of itself. This isn't to say like this is, all great, but But at the end of the day, it's not like a terrifying situation at all. Seeing it on television obviously feels a lot different than just like being right here. When you're right here, you realize it's nothing to be that fearful of. And ultimately, what is far more consequential and far more dangerous is the fact that ICE is unjustifiably kidnapping people, doing dragnets in neighborhoods, lying about how migrants are criminals, rapists, and then going after children and women and working families and people that are just at their job sites.
Yeah, I mean,
that's far more important to focus on than a bunch of people fucking, breaking a Waymo. Like, I don't give a shit. Fuck Waymos.
No, seriously. And a majority of the people are here just because they believe in the cause. They're not here to, encourage this type of stuff. But this is always going to happen when there are unjust detainees and when there's people that are just being removed from communities simply because of what paperwork they have.
Yeah. Here's
bullshit.
the thing. There's a social contract, right? We have institutions. We have laws. And we have this belief that if we exist in a society alongside others, that our institutions are going to take care of us. They're going to be just. They're going to be honest. They're going to protect citizens.
Thanks for being here.
Oh, thank you. And when that falls apart, when that social contract falls apart, people understandably are disturbed. People are understandably angry, and they lash out. These kinds of consequences of decentralized property damage is an inevitability, and it's yet another testament to the collapse of this system.
There you go. pretty fairly clear and concise, don't you think? Of course, it's not going to come across as clear and concise if you fucking mute me midway through the point that I'm making and then start screaming about how I have a fucking Porsche. Wow, that's so crazy. Do you understand? Stop watching people that are not interested in good faith analysis and are simply trying to cut content, not even because they have personally held convictions that make me their ideological enemy. Because XUC, at the end of the day, isn't even like a fucking right-winger, okay? He's just doing this because he knows people will respond positively to it. That's it. The actual right-wingers are looking for someone to say fuck Hasan to. He's grifting. Yeah, he's operating out of spite. He fucking hates me, and that's it. That's the only framework that he's using here. That's it.
It's unfortunate. Nobody wants to. I mean, I guess people pay literally to do this.
Oh, hey,
they go to
up?
fucking.
How you doing?
What do you call it? They go to like a rage cage. I've done it before.
Yeah.
I've been to a rage cage.
Yeah, we're just
It's
live
not
right
hard
now.
to break a car down with
Seriously,
tools.
we both live in Houston, too. That's
But
crazy that we
these
just
guys
walked
are doing
in.
Hannibal or maybe just Rex. Thank you for the 10 gifted
a great
subs.
job with the skateboards,
Good
I'll be
for
honest.
you. I'm
But
glad you're out here.
I guess my point is, this is nothing in comparison to the hundreds of people that got detained and will possibly get shipped off to CCOP without due process, which is now becoming commonplace in this administration. And this is still nothing in comparison to the... Oh, that one's on fire too now. Okay, we gotta move away from that.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, I mean, I could have said it better. Like, obviously people are here just because they care about their community. They're not here to cause shit, and even if shit gets caused, it's to bring the voice louder. Like MLK has always said, right? It's like writing is the voice of the unheard. People are gonna do this shit as long as the government's unjust. Don't have an unjust government.
Yeah, it's like, I mean, it's simple. The pressure valve in liberal democracies is supposed to be the election cycle. What's good? And
Why am I not being as clear as I could be in this situation?
you vote, you go out and you vote for your candidate, and your candidate's supposed to fight for your interests, and you're supposed to feel represented. But when that doesn't happen, people understandably get angry. Where the fuck where is our government? We're in California, we're in Los Angeles. This is unacceptable. This many people are out here in the streets right now, not because they're mad about, I don't know, fucking, it's some dumb, irrelevant bullshit. Like, they're mad because their neighbors are getting fucking kidnapped in what is supposed to be a sanctuary city, what is supposed to be a sanctuary state. And it also hits really weird when you're fucking standing in that crowd and you see some pig fuck wearing the latest gear. He's got fucking ceramic plates on. He's got a baton in his fucking hand, and he's looking at you like a $10 steak that he wants to eat.
They
and it's like,
slammed
I paid your fucking I paid your salary.
They slammed some 19-year-old girl down, like when we were down there, just for fucking waving a Mexican flag in their face. It's insane.
It's like, we all pay your salaries. Like, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah.
We're getting tear gas. We're getting fucking flashbang. It's bullshit.
Yeah, I'm sure you saw it earlier today, but Trump said, he was asked, where's the line, where's the bar, until we start having even more action like Marines.
Yeah, but
he
3
said,
months ago we were peacefully protesting and then they still fucking came 3 months
and
later.
Trump said today, I'm the one who sets the bar. I'm the one who decides when enough is enough. So, it's insane.
3 months ago we were all out here peacefully protesting. We even took over the freeway and everything.
Yep.
No one batted an eye. But now that actual trucks are here, people are fucking pissed.
Yeah.
It's a sanctuary city.
100%.
Anyway, so yeah. Like, under normal circumstances, people don't just randomly walk up to storefronts and bust the windows down, okay? A person who does that is an insane person, all right? The reason why this is taking place is because of the unimaginable yet understandable discontent that people have towards the fucking federal government. This is what you get when the system collapses. We sit around and we watch the French do this basically every single week, okay? The French do this almost for fun, okay? They do this professionally. God forbid people fucking get angry enough here in the United States of America, though. It's like, whoa, 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 hold on now. And I will repeat myself once again. This is not me saying like you should always burn Waymos or whatever the fuck. Okay, that's not what I'm saying. Like, I understand that is a dangerous environment for all of the people that are protesting. Okay, that's a dangerous environment. But if you are looking at this, if you're looking at this image right in front of you, and your hyper focus is on the fucking burn cars, the burn Waymos, and the profit margins of Google that owns Waymo, okay, and not on the people that are behind that are getting tear gassed, you, I assume, feel like those people deserve to be tear gassed. Like, you're placing a higher order of priority on capital than actual human beings. Actual human beings who care about other human beings, their loved ones. It doesn't make any sense to me at all. It bricks my brain when I see the average liberal or average right-winger perspective on this. And now, with all the discontent, with all the anger that people feel, I guess, now Trump sees this as an opportunity to deploy the fucking Marines, okay? These people will then turn around and say, well, the Marines are being deployed because they burned the fucking Waymos, okay? Except no Marines were deployed to Philadelphia when the Eagles won. No Marines were deployed. The National Guard wasn't deployed to any city when a sports team wins or loses. Yeah. And of course, the reason why the MLK thing is prescient right now is because Bernie Sanders invoked it with a horrible old man take once again. Let's see what he had to say. I know the Marines have been deployed. Yeah, XUG says arrest them all. Yeah, he's a piece of shit. I don't know what else to say other than that. But here is Bernie Sanders. Dr. King defeated racist government officials and ended segregation through disciplined, nonviolent resistance. Defeating Trumpism, oligarchy, and authoritarianism requires that same level of discipline. Violent protests are counterproductive and play right into Trump's playbook. Except this was the attitude demonstrated towards MLK from mainstream media at the time. I plan to lead another nonviolent march tomorrow. Bernie Sanders, who was literally there. I don't mean this as a joke, like, haha, he's old. He was literally there, okay? Bernie Sanders, who was arrested. Like, not only was he literally there, he was fucking arrested at a nonviolent protest that the media at the time considered to be a violent, disruptive protest, is now taking this position. It's like, bro, you were fucking there. Like, here is Bernie Sanders arrested at the Chicago civil rights protest. On August 12th, 1963, Bernie was charged with resisting arrest for his role in the Chicago protests against the use of Willis wagons. He was found guilty and paid a fine of $25. Also, notice the gear that the cops had at the time. Like, this guy has a lung dart in his mouth, bro, while he's arresting Bernard Sanders. What the hell is this take? Hold on. I'm gonna quote retweet this. We used to be a proper country. I know. Well, not so proper even back then, but like, the appropriate position to take in this circumstance is to say property damage is understandably a distraction. Property damage, or hyper focusing on property damage, is a distraction when real lives are at stake. Okay? Anyone who uses that as a reason to deploy the Marines, or anyone who hyper focuses that, is basically playing into Trump's hands more so than the people who are actually at those protests. Okay? Yes, apparently the Marines have now mobilized at the non-violent. Supposed to, the statement does, other than lean into the hysteria that gives Trump enough momentum to mobilize the Marines on U.S. soil illegally. You were literally there at the nonviolent protest that everyone considered to be violent and unpopular, so I have no idea what this statement does other than lean into the hysteria that gives Trump enough momentum to mobilize the Marines on U.S. soil illegally. It's extra crazy because Kamala Harris had a better take on this than Bernard did. Am I still going back out today? Yes. Not exactly sure where to go today, but I'm working on it currently. I can't believe Mamala, my queen. Mamala, my queen. How many activists and leaders were murdered and lynched for this guy to spout some dumb shit like this? Yeah, I don't. If you're angry at the protest is not the conditions that produced the protest, you lost the plot. Bernice King, who is the daughter of MLK Jr., says, as my father said, but it is not enough for me to stand before you tonight and condemn riots. It would be morally irresponsible for me to do that without, at the same time, condemning the contingent, intolerable conditions that exist in our society. These conditions are the things that cause individuals to feel that they have no other alternative than to engage in violent rebellions to get attention. And I must say tonight that a riot is the language of the unheard. And what is it America has failed to hear? It has failed to hear that the plight of the black poor has worsened over the last 12 or 15 years. It has failed to hear that the promises of freedom and justice have not been met. And it has failed to hear that large segments of white society are more concerned about tranquility and the status quo than about justice and humanity. What's crazy is, like, as I said, Bernard Sanders himself participated in these, and he got arrested for his participation. And those protests were damn near identical to the ones that you see today, with one exception: the response and the agitative initiatives from the cops. The response is far more severe, and the agitation from the cops is far more severe as well. The violence that we have normalized that come from the cops and the escalation that happens every single time from the cops is either comparable or even worse. They're more militarized. I mean, back then they used to do the water cannons and police dogs and obviously a bunch of horrible things as well. But the reason why I'm pointing to this is because, again, Freedom Riders, sit-ins, May 1961, 2 years before Bernie even joined the protest and got arrested. Do you approve or disapprove of what the Freedom Riders are doing? 22% approve, 61% disapprove. Do you think sit-ins at lunch counters and freedom buses and other demonstrations by black people will hurt or help the black people's chances of being integrated in the South? 28% say help, 57% say hurt. Here is more information from the March on Washington. What are your feelings about this proposed mass civil rights rally? 60% have an unfavorable opinion, 23% have a favorable opinion. Whites on demonstrations by black people on October 1966. All in all, do you feel the demonstrations by black people on civil rights have helped or hurt more in the advancement of black rights? 15% say helps, 85% say hurts. This is, of course, white respondents only. So the thing to consider here is that if you are trying to win over as many people as possible, like all these people, they say optics this, optics that, they don't understand that throughout history, optics have never mattered. Okay? Optics do not matter to many people because power never concedes without response. Power never concedes without retaliation. It doesn't work that way. It is the very fact that people are on the fucking streets doing shit like this from time to time when the overwhelming majority of the protests are peaceful and the actual reason for the protests themselves are perfectly valid and moral. Okay, stopping ICE detentions in a sanctuary state, in a sanctuary city. The reason that these protests, this mass civil unrest is taking place is an indication that we do not have an adequate pressure valve. We do not have an adequate democratic pressure valve here because our leadership is not fighting for us. Our leadership has not been able to successfully abide by the previous promises that they had met to protect our own fucking communities. In a place like California, in a place like Los Angeles, of course this kind of unrest is going to take place. This is the point I was making to Mason as well. This kind of collapse takes place when institutions fail to even create the notion of a social contract, when that is ripped apart unjustifiably, when people recognize it, when people understand that there is no semblance of justice here and only injustice, and that is becoming the norm, they get angry. and they protest. And in the process of this protest, the most violent entity is always the police. The escalating factor is always the police. And the double standard here is so glaringly obvious. People stood on the 101 freeway, okay? They they created a human chain and stopped traffic on the 101 freeway for an extended period of time. We saw it happen. I was there. I'm on the freeway, literally in this video, okay? Everyone gets mad at that. They go, how dare these people actually fucking stop the freeway? This is fucking unacceptable, right? Meanwhile, the freeway was stopped completely by not just the human chain protesters, but by cops, because cops use that fucking freeway as a staging ground. No one cares when cops stop the fucking freeway so that they can bring more of their dipshit friends to go upstairs, to go up the fucking ramp and tear gas citizens, tear gas civilians who are unarmed, peacefully protesting, mind you. But everybody loses their mind when those same civilians actually disrupt traffic. Do you understand how stupid this is? Then it seems like you don't care about the disruption of traffic. You simply care about these protesters that are making you aware of the injustice that is taking place by disrupting traffic. You can hyper-focus on peaceful brick throwing all day, every day. Oh, yes, the burning cars really makes me want to help. Dog, we know you don't want to help. You're on Twitch. You're sitting in the chat of someone, and your only purpose here is to just basically be like, oh, I was going to go out and protest, but I saw a fucking car burning, and I decided, fuck this, you know? Exactly. At least you admit it. It's always motherfuckers like this who don't give a shit, who actually most likely like what is happening with ICE and the mass deportations, that turn around and go, oh man, I was just about to go outside, but then I saw a fucking Waymo burning and I decided, oh, fuck these guys, you know? Actually, I should actually crack heads harder. Cops should crack heads harder. You say peaceful brick throwing, okay? But you fail to consider that the cops not only are wearing riot gear, but the cops are also wearing the riot gear that we paid for and using tear gas chemical weapons that we paid for on us, the civilians, the citizens. You're not a fucking cop in that situation. Who do you think you're closer to? Politicians who demand that ICE agents go and fucking kidnap people, or your neighbors that are getting kidnapped? Who do you think you are closer to in society? Are you a cop, or are you the civilian that's protesting? Maybe you don't actually see yourself in the shoes of someone who would go out there and actually protest against this kind of thing. But make no mistake, there will come a day when there is something you feel worthy of protest. And then you'll understand when they gas you, when they use explosive ordinances around you, when they beat the shit out of you, only then will you understand. You can't arm the police like dog-faced Marines about to retake Fallujah and then not expect this to happen. Whose bright idea was it anyway to militarize America's police? I mean, yeah, it's true. Like, what do you think is more dangerous? Tear gas and explosive ordinances, or fucking water bottles that they're tossing in the direction of cops that have riot gear on? I'll tell you what's more dangerous. It's the fucking explosives, okay? Here, look at this.
I think they're gonna push in from this side of the road.
So I'm over here trying to explain the cops that moved into the other side of the freeway, and they're going to move in a single file line to kettle and corral all the fucking protesters that are on the street, right? But in the process, of course, they're like deploying fucking explosives. Here, look.
Oh, fuck. That fucked my hair up. Anyway, I think they're going to push in from this side of the road.
You got no excuses. You belong to a society that has a vision of rule of law. Your law enforcement represents it. And if you don't believe in it, you're in the wrong place. Brother, the reason why this is happening is because the rule of law is collapsing. Do you not understand that? Like, do you think people just did this because they're fucking bored? Do you think people did this because they're like, oh man, I'm so bored. I can't wait to fucking, like, I can't wait to instead of on this beautiful Sunday, instead of going out and getting ice cream and like, I don't know, buying a fucking blind box of Labubus or whatever the fuck people do, they were like, I'm going to go out and I'm going to protest. The reason why they're doing that is because the rule of law is collapsing. And these are people who are aware enough to recognize it. You, on the other hand, are not aware. When people who are tasked with protecting us and serving us, okay, because I understand that in theory, that's what law enforcement is supposed to do. When people who are tasked with protecting us and serving us are no longer serving us or protecting us, what are people supposed to do? This argument, by the way, is the exact same argument that the white moderate placed during every tumultuous period, every instance of struggle, including the civil rights struggle. That's why I was just talking about MLK. But the thing is, they have federal law backing them up. Even if you got to the point, there's no way the protesters would go against the LAPD. Segregation was also a legal process. Slavery was also a legal process. Mass kidnappings of random people that are cooperating with the immigration authorities simply because the most racist people in America feel better about their position in society is also a legal process, just like those other legal processes. And thank God people fucking fought back against those otherwise legal processes. The state always has the ultimate power of conducting violent affairs. The state has a monopoly on violence. They can do whatever they want. Okay? It's the law. They are the law. The state makes the fucking law. And even if the state itself sometimes actually moves outside of the confines of pre-existing law, as they are doing right now with their dragnet campaigns and with their elimination of due process, tomorrow they can make that a legal part of the law. At which point you have to ask yourself, is this justifiable? Many people, myself included, understandably do not consider it justifiable, do not consider it moral. We consider it immoral. But you do realize that the way these protests are going will just result in the potential for assault against federal officers instead of making a strong point. Yes, you're doing the thing. You're doing the same fucking thing, okay? My job here is to get you and anyone else that goes, ugh, I don't like the optics of what people are doing. Why don't they just say no? Like, what are people supposed to do? The reason why people are pushed to this point is because the previous instances did not work, okay? You're doing the same exact thing that people did to MLK. I don't understand. Why won't people sit at home and go, this is really messed up. I don't like it. You know, why don't they just say that?